Welcome everyone back to the channel for another video. This is Q50 Beast. I appreciate everyone here today as we're going to take a look at the Nissan Sentra. The Nissan Sentra Nismo with that. It's a pretty cool car. We just built this thing last night. We won it through the festival playlist. And it's just an awesome machine. So we're going to go ahead and get into the Nissan Sentra. So you got a few looks at the car here. You see some nice glimpses here. We got a street tune on this thing that we built last night. We got the Forza tires on there, and this is a front wheel drive car. So let's go ahead and look at the car a little better. And thank you all for joining, and I appreciate everyone being here. And if you are here, that you are here. I need to do an audio check to make sure the audio is good. But we'll back this thing back up, and we'll take it to the house, back to our house, and we're going to view this thing once more and take a look at the Nissan Sentra Nismo. All right, so we're going to go to My Cars, and we're going to view the car so that we can take a better look at it. Thank you again for everyone that is here. But this is our Nissan Sentra. We got a nice little tune on it. Pretty good looking wheels on it. We used a stock paint job. We just added a carbon fiber spoiler on it. This is the stock spoiler, but we added carbon fiber. This car looks pretty cool. Looks like the Z for the most part, the 370Z. Nice little Nismo car. This car comes with a stock 1.7 liter engine. And we left that thing 1.7. We fully built it. We turbocharged the car. It has a nice Nismo accent to it. Just a pretty nice machine. Pretty nice machine. Yep. I love the way this thing is looking. And it's pretty fun to drive. We'll take it around the map. And we'll just go ahead and get into it. We'll talk about handling, the power that it has, and all that thing. And we'll share the tune with you all. Let's go ahead and get into the Nissan Sentra. So we'll go inside the car and take a peek around. This thing is pretty cool, man. We'll drive car again, and we're going to use the Logitech G920 to drive around. Pretty cool, man. I mean, a lot of detail into this. I like it a lot. I like the Alcantara on the steering wheel that you see with the red stripe. It's just pretty cool. It's a very, very nice car. So we're doing manual with clutch. Manual with clutch. Hear that turbo blowing off a little bit? Remember, this is a 1.6 engine. We used a stock engine. We just fully built it. I think this thing's like 409 horsepower, I believe, is where we're standing with this car. Pretty nice car. It's a front-wheel drive. Talking about the handling, this car actually handles very well for it to be a front-wheel drive car. Very well in the handling. I mean, we just went around at 119 miles per hour, no problems. Usually with the front wheel drive cars, you feel a lot of slippage because the front wheel is doing so much. In a front wheel drive car, the car is pulling, the car is turning, the car is braking, and it just has a big job. But the way we got this thing tuned, it handles pretty well.
Arrived at your destination.
This the 1.6 liter does a really, really good job. I'm not sure my audio is breaking up, but the 1.6 liter does a pretty good job. The way we got this thing tuned, it's pretty much a 4-gear tune to the top speed. I know a lot of people like that, just four gear tune. We have a 6-speed transmission, but you pretty much get everything out of the car in the first 4 gears. I'm gonna switch to the controller so we can show you how this thing looks when it rides. I mean, this thing looks pretty cool, man. It's a nice car. And if you're here, let me know you're here. Welcome to the channel. This is Q50 Beast. This is what the car sounds like outside of it. I mean, this thing picks up pretty good. I mean, you'll be racing the Honda Civics and the Mini Coopers and all those cars in that class, and this car fits right in there. I mean, it's the true Nismo, and this thing does a really good job. Does a really, really good job. We'll get back in the car and we'll make our way to the interstate, and we'll send this thing down the interstate. We got this thing tuned for road racing, and it does a really good job, I believe. Okay, so listen, that is not the car. That is me and my driving. Don't blame the tune for that. Blame Q50 Beast. On the Logitech G920. Logitech G920. If you're here, get that thumbs up out there and get that like out there so we can get this video out to more people. Thank you for hanging out with me on this Friday so we can review this Nissan Sentra Nismo. Once again, this is the stock engine. This thing pulls pretty well. Pulls pretty well. We'll share the tuning with you in a little bit. I just want to send this thing down the interstate so you can kind of get a feel of the car. Strong for this 1.6 engine. Like I said, we're using the stock engine. We fully built it, and I believe we're sitting at 409 horsepower. 409 horsepower. It does pretty good. This is the stock engine. This is what it sounds like outside. Car handles very well. To get back in and get on the Logitech G920. Yeah, if you're here, hit that like button. Hit that like button so we can get this video out to more people. And thank you for being here. Whoever's here, joining me, let me know who you are. Let me know you're here. At 194 miles per hour. Coming downwind on the interstate. It's pretty cool. We'll take this thing to the garage and we can show you what we put inside the car. And then we will take it from there. So let's go inside the garage so we can take a look at what we have inside of this car. All right, so we're gonna get to the upgrades and tuning. Let's show you what we got. So again, we told you we have the stock engine. We went with the stock engine. Fully built, 490 horsepower. My apologies, I said 409 horsepower. So we got 490 horsepower, and we left this thing front wheel drive. So the front wheels are pulling on this thing, so we got the front wheel drive there. And for the engine, we went with the race intake, race fuel system, race ignition, with the race exhaust. The exhaust sounds pretty cool. That's the race. This is sport. Sounds pretty cool as well. The street one sounds pretty good. And that's the stock. But we went on with the race exhaust. Went to race and camshafts and valves, race valves. Went with the race engine block displacement. Sounds pretty cool. Went with the race pistons and compression. We also went with the race turbo. We upgraded that turbo all the way. We made this car S1827. It's pretty cool. Went with the race intercooler, and we did nothing with the oil cooling. We left it alone. Left the extra weight off. I believe we could have added, 13 horsepower, but we decided to keep that off and keep the weight off. Went with the race flywheel. And we went with the race brakes, of course. And the race suspension, of course. Race suspension. Always race suspension. When we're talking about racing the car, not off-road. All right, so front anti-roll bars, we went race. We also went with the rear race anti-roll bars. We did not touch the chassis reinforcement, and we went with the full weight reduction on this car. For the drivetrain, of course, we went race clutch. Everything is race here. We went the race transmission, a race drive line, and we also went with the race differential. Race differential. All right, so we went with the Forza semi-slick tire. This is a street build, all the way wide in the front. We got to get that power down. And we also went all the way wide in the rear. It is extra weight, but we went wide in the rear because these front wheel drives are pretty light in the rear, and they start to spin out a little bit. So I went as wide as possible to get the most power down. We chose these wheels. We're not drag racing, but we went with the lightest one. These are carbon fiber wheels, pretty cool wheels. So we went with these. This is what the stock wheel looks like. Looks pretty cool as well. Let's go ahead and put those wheels back. Just wanted to show you guys the stock wheel. But we went with these. We didn't touch the front wheel. We left the 18s in the front and the rear. And for the rear, we extended it all the way wide. And for the front, we went all the way wide. Hit that like button if you're here. Let me know that you're here. Share the video, please. Nothing with the front arrow. They gave a Forza arrow, which is it's okay. But we left that off. And for the rear, we went with the stock spoiler. This one, if you're racing, road racing, I'm sure this will work out pretty fine for you. And it's really clean with the Nissan taking it off, the spoiler off. It has the top speed a little bit as well. 189.5. Okay, I'm sorry, it did not have the top speed. So we left the stock spoiler on to help with the handling is what we did. All right, so going over to the tuning, we went 15 in the front and 28 in the rear. Gearing 220 gears, 330 first gear. We had to tone that down because it's a front wheel drive, and we wanted to pull that down so that we didn't spin so much. 225 second for the second gear. The same thing, we tuned this gear down a little bit from what we usually do so that we can keep the car from spinning through the first two gears. 159 third, 121 fourth, 1/5, and 0.85 on the sixth. Alignment, we tuned down the front camber closer to 0. We left it at -1.5 so that we can put the car on the road, and we went the same on the rear. We didn't touch anything else. Anti-roll bars, just stiffened the front up just a little bit. Springs, we went a little bit stiffer in the front with the springs and all the way hard in the rear to kind of keep the rear of the car sturdy. And we dropped the thing down all the way because it's a front wheel drive. Front rebound stiffness, we went a little bit harder in the front and all the way hard in the rear. We didn't touch the bump stiffness in the front, but all the way hard in the rear. Try to keep the back of the car as possible so that we can keep the power in the front of the car. There was no aero, no brake, and no differential. If you want this tune, you search Creator Q50 Beast, one word, and you can search it. And here's the street tune for you here. So I'll let you guys take down the street tune and give me 1 second. So remember, this is the street tune for this car, and we did a drag tune as well. This is the latest rev of the drag tune if you want to take this down. Okay, so this is our drag tune. This is the drag tune. All right, so we're taking care of a little bit of housekeeping right now, so give me a second, please. I'm going to take care of some housekeeping, and I think we're all set and ready to get back going. All right, so those are the tunes. The drag tune is pretty similar to what we have here. We just changed the tires pretty much, and I think the rear tire is a narrow tire in the rear is what we've done. All right, so let's go ahead and get back in this thing. Go ahead and test and tune and show you how this thing rolls. It's just pretty good through third and fourth. Remember, that's a 156 plus. And remember, this is a stock engine. We didn't go with the GTR engine. We went with the stock engine. And this thing handles pretty well for a front-wheel drive car. That was a pretty good job. I'm impressed with this thing. I mean, I'm sure you can run the Goliath and all of those street races, and this car is going to compete with the S2000s. It's going to compete with the Honda Civics and all those different things. This car runs pretty well. Just remember, you can put those big boy engines in it and twin turbo this thing and make it an extreme sleeper is what you can do with it. I mean, but look at the speeds that we're putting on this pure street car. Doing a good job hanging in there, and this is a front wheel drive car. It's a front wheel drive car, and this thing runs pretty well. I love the sound of this thing. Has some traffic up there, and as soon as we get out of the car, we wreck. Once again, that is not the cartoon, that is my driving. Let's take another look at what we got, though. I mean, this is a pretty nice little car, man. I like the stock paint that they gave us. It's just a nice car. The thing still wants to break loose through second gear, and it spins through second gear, but we kind of toned that down. What we did is we reduced the front camber just a little bit. It hurts with turning, but we put more tire on the roads just to give us that little more power. And we dropped the tire pressure all the way down to 15. That doesn't help on road racing either, but that's what we had to do to get this thing to hook up. It handles pretty well. On the Logitech G920, and look at the Alcantara on the steering wheel. I love the attention to detail that they've added to this thing. Love the attention to detail. So we're presenting this to you in 1080p. That's what we're allowed to live stream with the Xbox Series X. 1080p is what we're presenting to you. Every now and then you hear that thing break loose a little bit, but it gathers itself and does a really good job. Shifts sound really good on this thing. It's just a nice sounding car. Got a car parked on it. Nice little car. Again, you can win this thing on the festival playlists. It's the Japanese playlist. And I believe it's 40 points to win this car. 40 points. I've been waiting on this little car. I didn't get it in Forza 4, and I've been waiting to get my hands on it. So I'm pretty excited. As you all know, I'm a Nissan guy. So this is right down my alley.
You have arrived at your destination.
I'm telling you, they got the dash down pack. The Nissan Infinitis, they look just like this. I mean, they didn't miss anything. They didn't miss anything. So here are those snap, crackle, and pops. This 490 horsepower Sentra. I tell you what, you talking about a sleeper, this is one. Talk about a sleeper, this is one. There's some Challengers on the side of the road. It looks like the people are getting back into Forza. I see more and more people online, which is good. It's good to see. We hadn't had many people online lately, so it's good to see that. Alright, we're gonna park right here. I'll check on a couple of things. Give me 1 second. Alright, we got some guys speeding through. Let's take another look at this Nissan as the time of day changes. I mean, it's just a pretty cool car, man. I love the colors, the color scheme. We got this guy over here racing the El Camino, it looks like. We'll get back in it and get back on our journey. Logitech G920 is what we're using. The feedback with the front wheel drive is pretty good with the G920. I mean, you feel a lot. Of course, you got to go through your settings and get it set the way you prefer. But the G920 with the front wheel drive is very responsive in my opinion. Very responsive. I just love the way this thing sounds. I mean, the car sounds pretty cool. To see a Nissan Sentra sounding as powerful as this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. 490 horsepower. And, you know, if you add the oil cooling, you could put this thing at 503 horsepower. Just think about that for a moment. Front-wheel drive car with 503 horsepower with the stock engine. I mean, that's something to think about. All right. Caught me off guard a little bit. Just a very, very deep sounding engine, I tell you. It sounds pretty cool. With the race suspension, you can definitely feel the difference between this suspension and the stock suspension that comes on this using the wheel. It's very solid, feels Nismo-ish, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty close to what you would feel with the GTR, but being a front-wheel drive, the GTR has a front drive on it as well, being an all-wheel drive, so it's not that much difference. But you can definitely feel the weight of the car very light in the rear because it is a front-wheel drive. Hence, that's why we put the very wide tires on the rear. Pretty cool car, but 40 points. I had a little bit of difficulty with the drift section, why it made it kind of difficult for me to win this thing, but get this car for free. Take an hour or two to go ahead and go through the festival playlist isn't bad. I think it's a pretty good deal. This thing handles the power pretty well though. Very responsive. With that third gear, I probably could come up maybe 1 or 2 ticks and towards acceleration, and I believe that third gear shift will be very smooth. I guess I'm talking too much, but that third gear shift will be very smooth if I pick up the ticks. Maybe 1 to 2 ticks, it should handle it. Forest looks pretty cool through here. It looks like a little bit of fog. It's a really good scenery. The stars look pretty cool. Of course, we're seeing a little more with the 4K, but we're only broadcasting in 1080p, so nice car to drive around, mess around with your friends. Nice car to do road racing in its class. And for front wheel drive cars, I think this thing competes very well. You set that rear end down a little bit so you can put that weight to the ground, and maybe you do add oil cooling. I don't know, it may add too much weight to the front of the car. Maybe you could just upgrade the fan if you wanted that extra power and only a couple pounds. Maybe do that. This thing is pretty responsive. I'm enjoying this car. Pretty cool. If you're here, thank you for being here. Let me know you're here. Put a message in the chat, hit that like button, and share this thing, man. We appreciate you being here on this Friday afternoon. And it's pretty cool in there. Maybe I need to learn this. I don't drive up here much, so I really don't know the terrain very well. So I'm really not a drifter, as you can tell. But I wanted to just kind of show you this car up here in the most challenging environments, especially for a front-wheel drive car. And the wheels hold up pretty well. I mean, those 88 miles per hour, no slippage. I believe that was the rear tires that broke loose. And I floored it right there just to see if it would hold. Wish we could put some high beams on this thing. That would be cool. Or use signals, period. They have that in Gran Turismo 7. That would be cool to be able to adjust the lights and use signals and have wheel support for that. That would be pretty cool. Traveling to the top of the mountain here.
You have arrived at your destination.
Definitely waiting for the daylight to reappear. I'm looking at the screen and I'm gonna run off the mountain. Close call. Looks like daylight's appearing. Alright, so we're gonna change environment. Just want to show you all the car running up and down the mountain pass. And we're gonna fast travel here. And just put this thing back on the interstate so you can kind of see it one more time. How this thing performs. And if there's any questions for anyone, from anyone about this car, let me know in the chat. We can get into it before we call this thing a day. Second gear wants to bite. But this car's no slouch though, it's no slouch. It's no slouch. I mean, you can run with, in its class, it does a good job in its class. For sure. For sure, it does a good job. Like I said, this is a 4-gear tune. You can shorten these gears up, but I wanted them as long as possible. It's built for road racing, so that I have to keep shifting the gears throughout the race. There's some advantages and disadvantages for that. If you're in a lot of tight corners and tight turns, it's best to have as many gears as possible. But for me, I just wanted to be able to really run through 3rd or 4th gear on those races. That's what we got set up. I believe we can pick up 194 miles per hour at the bottom of this, at the tail end of this interstate, which is not bad for the stock engine. You can put the GTR, I believe you can put a 6.2 liter in this thing as well. Not sure how the power will be put down on the front wheel drive for that car, but you can do it. But we wanted to show you a fully built stock tune. stock engine car, and that's what we did. 490 horsepower. Again, we know we can make it at 503 horsepower. We put 195 that time. See if we can break 196. Doesn't look like it, but we put 195 down. 195 down. Let's take this thing to the airport.
Early, but the next Horizon arcade event will begin shortly.
See what we can get out of this thing with the stock with the Forza tires on it, the semi-slicks. We chose the leather tires just for looks. But we'll see what we can get out of this thing at the airport. Not a bad car, man. Not a bad car at all. Maybe putting down a drag tune for you all. And doing a video for that, potentially. Beautiful area, the map. I love this area of the track. Oh. We were able to avoid him. Alright, we'll take this thing to the airport and show you what we can do with it. If we can keep it straight. Oh. Okay, that change of terrain was a little rough for us, huh? Probably have more control over it with the gamepad, but we're using the G920 right now. Yeah, it's a good-looking car, man. Good-looking little car, little four-door sedan. Just a nice little car with the 18s on it. I think she looks special. All right. Not bad at all. 178. Probably could have got 180 before we slowed it down. Not bad. Not a bad car at all, man. All right, everyone. So this is our Nissan Sentra Nismo. Again, you can win this thing out of the festival playlists. Pretty cool looking car. Nice sound. Just a nice little car. Nice little car. Alright. Thank you everyone for joining the channel today, joining me on this Friday. This is Q50.